Hello, everyone. It's been a while, I know. I just got finished rewatching a couple of my older uploads from the early part of 2017, and I did that sort of prompted by seeing some of the online hullabaloo surrounding Chat GPT. Uh, TikTok is certainly blowing up over it, and I'm not so sure about YouTube and Twitter and whatnot because I've sort of got the algorithms trained to. I've slowly been trying to train the algorithms to give me stuff that doesn't raise my heart rate, So my feeds are mostly synthesizer videos and whatnot. But anyway, it's for those of us who are sort of aren't in that tech space and haven't been aware of the incremental, or really by incremental I mean exponential growth, advancements in the field of AI. The Chat GPT and the all of the focus that's being placed on it really seems to be like a bit of an eye-opening moment, right? It's sort of shocking a lot of people, the degree to which they've been able to make the AI that successful as it appears to be. Now, having said that, I will say I haven't looked too much into Chat GPT. I'm pretty new to understanding what people are talking about, so I've done a little bit of research in the last couple of days. But I'm not well versed or anything like that, and I don't necessarily intend to be. I'm still busy in the shop. I'm still on a personal trajectory, I suppose you could say. But I did find it interesting because what a lot of people are saying on TikTok and other places are very reminiscent of some things that I was saying, 5, 6 years ago on my channel, talking about the next great revolution to face us is really going to be the rise of robotics, automation, and AI, and how that's going to replace virtually all human labor, up to and including clerical and even things that I think a lot of people at one point in time thought just would not be possible to be done except through a human being. A lot of creative ventures even. And so, I wanted to revisit those couple of videos. It's funny too because a couple of weeks ago, when I was not aware of Chat GPT, I had been aware of some of the videos circulating talking about how there was artificial consciousness, and I'm still in the doubting Thomas crowd, I guess, when it comes to the idea of true sentience, like at least at the level of human consciousness, human sentience. I think that computers may be able to mimic, and there may be even some potential for some kind of self-awareness, but I don't think it's the same thing. And so I could be wrong. I just don't see it. But I had always thought that AI was going to advance to the point where, and I made this point in my videos years ago, where AI will replace all engineers. The best engineers will be non-carbon-based life forms, right? They will be computer programs that will be the best engineers. And it's funny because I was saying this to a young guy the other day. He was asking me what I thought about hybrids and electric cars and where's all this going. And I had said to him at the time, I said, the energy crisis isn't really a thing because, of course, everything is made of energy and energy cannot be destroyed. So it's really the energy crisis, if there is one, is a crisis of imagination, potentially a crisis of politics. It's a crisis of engineering. And that if we're going to solve the energy crisis and come up with clean energy that allows all human beings to flourish and not damage our environment, et cetera, that it'll probably be developed by artificial intelligence. Fast forward to this week, learning about Chat GPT and seeing a lot of the things that the tests that people have put it to. And I feel like that idea, that opinion is somewhat vindicated, although of course we're not there yet. What I do think, and I mentioned this in the video series, which I'll link some of them below here. I'd be very interested to hear what everyone thinks, of course. What I do think, of course, is the biggest issue here. There are several prongs to it, I guess. One, and this is something I alluded to before, is our sort of our traditional notion of the value of a work ethic and the internal value that we place upon ourselves in being able to earn our keep, so to speak, and to work. And that going away for a lot of people is going to create a potentially existential challenge to people. I mean, we already have, even from the pandemic, and a lot of people having, the disruption into their normal lives, increase in suicide rates and divorce rates and things like that. Suicide by other means like substance abuse and things like that as well. So that's one issue for a lot of people. Another issue, of course, is going to be the ethics of the whole thing. How do we not have a bunch of people just in absolute poverty because they can't work, because there is no work because machines and computers are doing all the work? And how do we transition there? And a lot of people, of course, are already anti-capitalist, and there have been, I made mention of these things in my old videos, 2017 videos, about how, this is actually the only real viable, I think, and perhaps necessary avenue for like a universal basic income, as much as I hate to say it, because it does sort of, it feels wrong. Right, but if there's no work, and we've basically subjugated the machines to do our work for us, and that is truly going to liberate mankind, well then of course this is what you would do, especially if we are liberated from the toil and the challenge of resources, energy, right? Because really that's what liberates humankind, is cheap, reliable, easy to access forms of energy. That's what makes our food production safer and readily available. That's what makes our living arrangements comfortable and healthy and safe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, for all the bad press, of course, that gas and oil gets, it has lifted more people out of poverty than any other invention, simply because it has provided those things to people. In a relatively cost-effective manner, at a relatively easy-to-transport manner, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it could be that whatever AI comes up with is going to make that look ridiculous and will be clean. Who knows? I mean, that still does remain to be seen. But if we prioritize that and we say, profits are not, we transcend profit at that point in time somehow, right? That, as a species, as a society, we decide that that's not workable. And it might not be workable because, of course, again, if the vast majority of people can't work, then what value would we be exchanging for the products and services that companies would be producing, utilizing computers and robotics and artificial intelligence, and how would those companies continue to be viable at that point? So these are many things, but I think what the biggest challenge is ethics. When we talk about ethics, is some sort of totalitarian technocracy, right? I think that's the real pitfall here, is that there are going to be people who are going to find a way through their desire to control and manipulate other human beings to grab a hold of those levers of power in some way. It'll probably have to be political, because even with the most, glaring capitalist greed, there's only so much control. But when you have politicians who have control that, in some ways is unearned, if you think about it that way, right? But it can be complete. It can be total. It can be totalitarian. And utilizing the power that they may have. It's kind of one of those things, like I had a lot of customers and a lot of different people telling me over the years, oh, you got to get into crypto. Oh, you got to get into crypto. It's decentralized. It's the blockchain. The government can't touch it. It's the government can't do anything about it. And I always said to them, you don't understand government. I mean, sure, it's decentralized, maybe. Sure, the blockchain is good, whatever. they just have to legislate, right? All they got to do is pass a law. They can criminalize you with the stroke of a pen unless you do something that they want you to do with your crypto, right? Whether you declare it to them or whether you cash it in, whether you turn it all in, whether you exchange it for a central bank digital currency, something like that. But that's all they have to do. They don't have to have control of the manner in which it is stored and exchanged. They don't have to have control of it. They can just take control of it. And that's obviously what I would be concerned about here. What are going to be the ethics of the people who have the potential to be in positions of power when this kind of thing really takes hold? I was saying in my 2017 videos, and again, I'll link the little series below here. I was saying that it's here. You know, it's obviously here. It's inevitable. It's here, and it's moving. And looking back on that now from today, from what I'm seeing with ChatGPT, if nothing else, it's pretty obvious, right? And the writing has been on the wall for a long time. These aren't revelations. This is just an acknowledgement, really, of the reality on the ground. I do find it very interesting. I don't think I ever thought, you know, for all the futuristic movies and everything that I watched when I was a young adult and a teenager, I don't think I ever thought that I'd actually see it, that I would sort of quote unquote be here. What I do find interesting though, I was thinking, you know, Chat GPT and what are they going to be able to do? And even back then, I think I thought that, you know, as a mechanic, my job isn't in jeopardy. And personally, to be honest with you right now, I don't really care because I'm putting my job in jeopardy. You know, I'm sort of working towards a conclusion here. So it's not that big of a deal to me. But in light of a few problem vehicles that I've had in the last while that have been very difficult to diagnose and then very difficult to repair, and the care and attention that it takes and the attention to detail in a very strategy-based diagnostic session to make sure that I'm not missing something, because the service manuals only provide so much support when it comes to diagnostic steps and whatnot. I can't see at this point Chat GPT, you know, it can develop software and it can do all kinds of other things and solve all kinds of other problems. I would be interested, I guess, let's put it this way. I would be interested to compare my diagnostic strategy on a particular 2008 Dodge Aspen that I'm working on with a misfire and ChatGPT and its ability to do that. Of course, given the appropriate resources that it would need. But I mean, that's where all this lies, right? It's in the vast amounts of computing power and nearly the entire globe's worth of information, either available currently or, you know, can be made available. That's where the power, of course, of this comes in, and the computing power is only going to increase. You know, we're still on these sort of exponential growth curve there. So anyway, I would be very interested to hear what you all think. I actually have a couple other videos I should probably upload that I've recorded over the last little while. Maybe I'll do that over Christmas. But I wanted to just sort of put this video out there while I'm thinking about it, while I've just sort of, you know, in the last week or two become aware of ChatGPT and what people are saying about it and the concerns that some people have and the ethics of it all. And again, with respect to the videos I've made previously, and my contention that some of the biggest problems that we have to solve, perhaps some diseases even, can see real solutions, not the kind of solutions that we have to date, right? Because the majority of all of our healthcare solutions are all symptom mitigation. They don't address root causes. We don't have a cure for ALS and MS and cancer and Lou Gehrig's disease and autism and Alzheimer's and all of these things, right? We don't really have cures for these things. We address symptoms in general, and perhaps AI will be the first person to come along to say, we need to figure out what causes these things, and I have the computing power to do that. Maybe that will happen, I don't know. But certainly I think with respect to resources, you know, energy, and how to maximize food production and many of these other things. I think especially energy. Energy obviously is the biggest one. I mean, energy is the whole game, right? Ultimately, that's where everything lies. Again, that's where my concerns from, stem from with regards to ethics, though. I mean, are there going to be human beings trying to intercept these things and lying to the public and trying to manipulate the data? Who knows? Who knows how this is all going to play out? It's very interesting. I'd be very interested in hearing what you have to say in the comments below. Thanks for watching.